Welcome to another edition of the Bump Boys podcast. Today we got Mike FARREL of Chaos Theory Podcast here to introduce our new theme song that we are premiering in the next episode on Monday for Monday Night Raw. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
It's pretty good.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely, man. Fucking. Oh, sorry. Am I allowed to swear on the show?
Yes, you are.
Oh, yeah. We don't
absolutely, yes.
Okay. Fuck yeah. Because I swear the fuck a lot.
We should all do a fuck check, man. Fuck.
It's my favorite fucking word in the world.
Let me do a mic check. Mic check, fuck check. All right. We're
There you
good.
go.
Feels good to let it out.
Fuck yeah, it does. But yeah, man. Hey, look, we were, Dan and I were going back and forth with the specifics of everything, but we got it done. In fact, literally, I just got my new computer today for this. It literally came in the mail today because my old laptop took a complete shit when I was in the middle of trying to write and record your theme song.
Oh, wow.
And I was DMing with Dan the whole time, and I was like, God damn it. Like, these guys are going to think that I'm trying to get out of this shit or steal their money, and I don't want to come off that way. But, we were talking back and forth, and there was communication, so everything's good. Luckily, I have a lot of decent friends in the music business, and my homeboy has a studio at his house that records a bunch of local artists here in San Antonio. So he was like, come do it. He was like, we'll mix it, we'll master it. I'll let you mix it. That way you can learn how to mix your own shit. And then I gave it to Dan, and I like it. I think it's I think the last part of it especially is probably one of the favorite themes that I've ever recorded.
Oh, I wish you could make a whole song of just wrestling, like the ending part. That shit would have been awesome.
If given enough time, I probably could. I mean,
it was really clean though too. Like when he first introduced the song, I didn't see your face at all. I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were black. But it was just it's just that nice deep voice. And I remember he was like, hey, what do you want in the song? And I was like, yo, if you can throw something about, Perk Angle or, rookie year Kurt Angle, I'm happy. And then the best part is when I was listening to it, I heard a couple other wrestlers that I'm a fan of, another one that on my top 5 is Macho. Macho, he's just wilding out, and it's just one of those favorite things. And when it was on there, I was like, no, this is perfect. This is the dude that knows what we want. And the quality was just so good.
I appreciate it, man. Let's I've got it queued up right here on my Roadcaster if you guys want to hear it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Premiere it.
Bro.
Yo, Mr. Chaos in this bitch. Y'all know what it is. Let's go. It's the Bump Boys, bitch, you better bow down. Crowd just wanna hear the show, start the countdown. Don't be messing around, we ain't chasing no clout. Better shut your ass up before we put your ass down. Might get lumped up, taking verbal bumps, chump. We don't ever bite tongues, always keeping it a buck. Dan, Joe, and Will, they gon' change the game. Bump Boys podcast, it'll melt your brain. Y'all don't wanna see the flame, so don't spark the match. We like rookie Kurt Angle, make your ankle snap. 3 amigos like Eddie, but don't lie, you steal. Only cheat when we gotta, but to win we will. Mike skills like Dusty, but go hard like Brock. I'm a stunner like Austin, dropping elbows like Mach. Y'all don't wanna see the finish, cause it's us on top. 1, 2, 3, get the V and get a warrior pop. Yo.
That's man. Like I said, I appreciate you guys. I got to shout out Carolina Boss Lady from Queen's Takeover for doing the recommendation. She's the whole reason that I got we got merged together. So all of those ladies at Queen's Takeover are fucking bosses. Those ladies are ass kickers and some of the coolest people you'll ever meet. So I owe them a lot for the hookup with you guys.
Definitely. Yeah, I listened to theirs.
So
that's how I knew about them. I know Kayla from it. So.
And he's the connection, man. Like I said, man. Danny's the plug.
It took a while. I think we're only on our 18th episode. You're like our first actual guest.
Oh shit, I appreciate that, man.
We haven't had any actual people come on. It's literally just the three of us like reviewing it. We tried to do fantasy booking. That really, it was okay, but
it takes too much time. It was like, it was fun, but it's like hour-long episodes, and it's just like,
especially for YouTube, but like to increase our viewership, you had to do quicker. Like that's how we started doing these 20-minute reviews.
Yeah.
Like we're not even on Apple yet. Like we haven't even like debuted our stuff on like Apple or Spotify yet.
well, that's how it is. It's a slow but steady grind. That's how it is. The biggest thing, because you have a podcast as well, correct?
Yep, I do the Chaos Theory podcast.
Yes.
Actually,
We'll
I want to show you guys something because this, I think you guys are wrestling fans like me, so you might mark out for this logo that I had made. Hold on.
Oh, that's fire.
That's pretty clean, man.
Oh,
That's clean,
good.
man.
I mean, our logo is just him. It's just what Will made on it. Adobe.
Yeah. No, that is definitely absolutely fire. See, now that's merch worthy right there.
Dude, you know what's funny is literally 8-9 months ago, I was where you guys were at or are at starting your podcast out. And I really wasn't going to do one because I had tried one before, but I didn't really invest in it. And it was kind of something to when I was pissed off at my wife that I would do to fucking unleash my bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to therapy. So if you guys don't know, I'm a vet and I deal with a lot of, PTSD and depression and stuff like that. And my therapist was like, look,
appreciate the service.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
My therapist was like, you're not going to keep a journal. I know you. You're not going to fucking keep a journal. So instead of doing that, why don't you spend a decent amount of money, invest in a podcast, whether anybody hears it or not, you have the record of how your life's going.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it. And before I even started the podcast, I had made friends with a couple of different guys, Rucker and Marty from Boot to the Face podcast. Those guys are fucking off rip. Two of the best guys I know. Then Jay and Dez from Talkamania. Then Josh and JP from Irish Whip. And I went to all of those guys and I said, hey, look, I'm thinking about starting a wrestling podcast. This is my shit. I've been a wrestling fan for 30 years. What do you guys think? And they were like, do it. They said, look, if nothing else, if nobody else listens to it, we will support you. We will listen to you. And they've, for, like I said, probably the entire 13 months off and on that I've been doing it, because there's been times where I take breaks.
Mm-hmm.
They've been rocking with me. They've all bought my merch from my Teespring stuff. I've made theme songs literally for Irish Whip, Boot to the Face, Talkamania, Queen's Takeover.
Oh wow.
80 Proof, and then now you guys are literally theme number 6 that I've done. And if it wasn't for those guys, man, I wouldn't be here. Like they put me on a network with them, and they've been treating me like family ever since. And it's, sometimes all you need is one person to look out and say, hey, this is a decent person.
Yeah. It's a community thing. We try to take that here. One of us are having like a down day, or one of us is, maybe not feeling it. What's nice is having people to push you and have the drive and stuff like that and then also them to network and stuff like that. Like I told Danny, I'll be telling Danny, because I know Danny is starting to open up, talk more. Same with Joe. And I told Danny, I'm like, Danny, you the lead of this podcast, my man, Danny. Like I tell Danny, I was like, Danny, you're the truest wrestling fan out of probably, me and Joe. Danny follows it to a T and everything like that. And he's plugged in with Twitter and stuff like that. So
because these guys aren't really plugged in the Twitter atmosphere of the pod.
I haven't gone to the Twitter world yet. I've always stayed away from the Twitter world, and
regular
life.
I told them the wrestling community there is just, they're nuts. That.
Really wild, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I remember jumping on Twitter was it when we started this back up, and I remember getting on it, and it was it completely changed from when I used it in 2012, 2013, and I remember hitting up Danny. I was like, yo, Danny, you navigate this? And he's like, yeah, it's the number one platform. Everyone uses it. I'm like, bro, I know Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, And I just learned TikTok. I was like, Twitter, a different entity altogether. And he's like, you just do this, this, and this. And I'm like, you know what, Danny, I'm gonna have you run Twitter because I have no idea what I'm doing, bro. I'd be refreshing pages for days, and it's just like, oh man.
The shit that helped me, man, was I literally I created my profile and I started following a bunch of wrestlers. And then I started before I started the podcast, I had no idea who Thunder Rosa was. Zero idea. Because, she's getting big now.
Yeah.
But a year and a half ago, she wasn't there. So I found Thunder Rosa. And when finding Thunder Rosa, I found Mission Pro Wrestling, which is her company.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm missing out on everything that's not WWE right now. Because I was a WWE guy. I was born and raised on the East Coast in Virginia. Like WWE, I got lucky because in Virginia we had both WWE and WCW. But I was a WWE guy. And when I found out about Thunder Rosa, I was like, okay, well, this is tits. Like this is so dope. And I went to a Mission Pro show, and it literally the first show that I went to, the main event was Thunder Rosa versus Allison Kay or Sienna in a cage match on an indie show.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And it was 30 minutes, and they beat the shit out of each other. And then the next show I went to, I became a sponsor. I told my wife, I said, hey, look, I know, we don't have a whole lot of money to, just throw around. We don't have fuck you money.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we don't even have forget you money. We kind of just, we just are. But I told her, I said, look, I want to make this investment, get my name out so I can start growing the podcast. And I've been stupidly blessed with an amazing wife who said, listen, bills are paid. It's your money. Play with it. Do what you want, because I get money from the podcast. So sometimes you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah. Also your happiness too, as well. Your ability to express yourself.
Absolutely. And I sponsored a Mission Pro show. Cost a little bit of money, but it was worth the investment. I went above and beyond what normal sponsors do. Is I went and I had every woman who's performing on that show, I had them a t-shirt made with my Chaos Club logo. And I paid for all of it. I brought them up to their show's about an hour away from where I was at, or where I'm at. Brought them up there, gave them to Thunder Rosa's husband, and said, hey, this is, I'm one of the sponsors of the show. There's a t-shirt in here for everybody from size small all the way up to size 2XL. I don't expect anything in return, but I love you guys. And if they want to take the shirt, they're more than welcome. First person to wear my shirt was a lady named Brittany Nicole. And I try to put her over on every show that I go to, because she is, if you have daughters, she's the perfect example. This woman is the first and only woman to own an independent promotion in the state of Louisiana's history.
Wow.
So she's an icon. She's pioneering this. Holy crap.
Yep. And she wore my shirt, and I got her on the podcast. She was my third guest ever. I had Jasmine Allure, who's been on AEW, on my show. That's another one I try to put over. She treated my daughter like they knew each other for years. Was super sweet to my daughter, sent her an autographed picture, sent her t-shirts and stickers. But with Brittany, she put out just an Instagram post, and she has 3,000, 4,000 followers. So it's not like she's super duper famous.
Yeah.
But she put out it's huge. She put out a post wearing my logo on her shirt. And I was like, I just got 4,000 people who wouldn't see my shit to wear my shit that are seeing my shit. So this is a long ass way to just say what I would do is to learn Twitter is kind of just follow who you like and then sit back and watch. What you'll learn real fucking fast is that the internet wrestling community is full of fucking scumbags.
Yup.
Oh damn, really?
Yeah.
But
They
they are
make the war. They
Oh, yeah.
literally make the war between Joe. They literally
yeah.
make the war between AEW and WWE.
Really? Wow.
Oh yeah. But what you'll find even more of is fantastic, fucking supportive, loving people online. The problem is not enough positivity is put out forefront,
Yeah.
but everybody sees the negative. And it's one of those things, like I've learned I don't respond back to people who talk shit anymore. I'll mute you. I won't even block you because I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction of you putting in your Twitter bio, I was blocked by Chaos Theory. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're not gonna use me for publicity.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, I only have 700 followers on Twitter, so it's not like I'm this giant superstar, but like, you're not gonna use the Chaos Theory name or logo for any kind of publicity. So I'll just mute your bitch ass and then keep it, I keep it rolling.
Stepping, keep it moving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep pushing.
definitely.
I like that. It's funny that he mentions that too. Because I was always telling, from my perspective, is you ever see the video that came out? Remember the black guy that was on the front row with the Roman Reigns shirt, and then he was doing the, he was talking to the crowd and like acknowledge it. I see you too, and everybody. And then I went into the comic section on the YouTube channel, and there was like half the people like supporting, and then there was the other half like, man, why is he doing that? Shut down. It's in between like a TV commercial. He's annoying people. And I was just like, it's funny to see how like different people think and just be like, that's something that's he's enjoying it. He's trying to get people involved. It's a nuance. It's like a nice, it's like
The atmosphere.
Yeah, it's an atmosphere of it where I feel like a lot of people, I feel like those are like the wrestling fans that I want to be, or I want to be around, people who see it as like, it's a good time. It's an interaction between not just you, but also like the wrestler and stuff like that. And then even like, let's say the Twitter world and stuff like that. I have to start diving into it because I'm very interested to see this whole AEW, WWE, because that was going to be my next question. So seeing as you grew up, you had WWE, well, at that time, WWF, which I personally prefer, WCW, so far, what do you see with WWE and AEW? Like, because my opinion on it is I feel like WWE is starting to go like this, even though obviously sales are going like this. And I feel like AEW's like product is better. So what's your opinion on that?
So I think Tony Khan is smarter than he has any business being. I think the dude knows enough to know that he doesn't know shit about the wrestling business. And he knows that dude took advantage in a negative way, but took advantage of Cody wanting to do some other shit. And
They
Cody
seized the opportunity.
Absolutely. And Cody brought in the Bucks, who I'm not a fan of the Bucks. Like, their matches to me all seem like they're really shitty, choreographed, rehearsed in the back. Like, nothing's called in the ring. And I get there's a place for that. And sometimes you have to rehearse everything and you have to make sure that timing's down. So I get that. But
too spot heavy. I think I said that before. Yeah, they're very spot heavy. Like everything's a spot.
There's not a lot of psychology in their matches, and that's what bugs me. Excuse me. But I think what AEW does really well is they capitalize on using their veterans to put over young guys. Like, if you think about it, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian held those titles for a long fucking time, right?
They held those for a while, didn't they?
Yep.
How long was it? Do you remember?
I think it was like 6 to 9 months or something like that. It may not have been that long, but I think it was something like that. But what you see is did you guys know who the fuck Private Party was before AEW? I didn't. I
did not know. No.
No.
Not at all.
And now Private Party is one of their number one tag teams, working with Matt Hardy and Andrade and all that shit. What they do well is they use the guys who have been on WWE to get these guys who are successful in the indies and say, listen, come here. Here's a hard cam. Here's why you do what you do. And they were super smart, and they took Billy Gunn, who's been around for he's been around TNA and WWE, the two biggest wrestling companies in the last 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take him and you say, you are our lead producer. This is on your shit. Tony's booking, the EVPs have decisions, but you are our lead producer. So they have people in these roles that know what the fuck they're doing. It's not like these guys are bringing in,
Suits, just suits to run shit. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not WCW in that way, where they're bringing in TV people to run a wrestling show.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And I think with WWE, when they put the kill shot in the black and gold NXT, WWE lost about a quarter of its audience.
Yep.
Because think about the stars that came from NXT, like legit.
It's
without
literally. Oh, my bad. It's literally like half of them are coming over.
Yep.
without no NXT, there's no Sasha, there's no Charlotte, there's no Becky. Three of your biggest stars gone. Then you don't have Ricochet. You don't have Samoa Joe, who they just recently go.
No Bailey, obviously injured.
No Bobby Roode.
Yep.
No Chad Gable.
No Cesaro or Sammy.
Dude, like when they put the killing shot, and I get you have to evolve. Taking that away from Triple H was the stupidest decision they ever made.
Yes.
How much do you want to bet that he argues with Vince every day about this?
I don't think he does, and I'll tell you why. I think Hunter realizes that Vince is 87, 88 years old.
He's set in his way. He will never.
There's no way you're going to get him to change.
Yeah.
But what I think Hunter's smart enough to realize too is that him and Stephanie aren't going to inherit the company. They're going to sell it. They're going to end up selling it.
Who do you think it's going to end up with?
Disney.
Okay, there's two. I got
Disney is the biggest one. Disney or ESPN.
Who do you want and who do you think and who do you want? Who do you think and who do you want?
I think Disney's going to end up doing it because they spent $4 billion on Marvel. They spent $4 billion on Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney Plus is the biggest streaming service in the fucking world right now. And Peacock sucks. NBC's rollout of the Peacock is trash.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That shit you cannot pause. You cannot rewind.
Well, it's gotten better. It's gotten better, but it's still not anywhere good.
They ruined it. They should have kept it WWE. I remember when WWE... I feel like I was so invested in like, all right, let me go through the bullshit of the WWE network, the shitty glitch and the shitty stream and the quality, and then they start to get good.
Yeah.
But I think Disney too, because look at Disney, like you said, Marvel, the buying of ESPN, anything they can get Star Wars, anything they can, what Disney wants? Disney wants anything they can market and put on a t-shirt, a book bag, action figures, things you can sell. So like I think the solo cut is gonna be Disney because like, and the toys, the book bags, all that kind of stuff. Like anything they can market and promote, I feel like Disney is always going to have their hand on.
The only other entity that I would want to come in, and this is going to seem like a stretch, but follow me here, is Dana White.
I could see it. Could you guys see it?
I could. We got to pay his fighters more. You know what I'm saying? They want to take a
fuck
big
all
number.
No, this is honestly what I would like to see. I would like to see Dana sell his stake in the UFC and be out. Do you know how much he made when they sold Zuffa? That dude made like $800 million. He doesn't need that bullshit anymore. Now, I don't know if Dana has the investment in professional wrestling. So it may never happen, right? But actually, in fact, I know he hates professional wrestling. He likes Vince and likes the way he hustles and shit, but I don't think he fucks with wrestling like that. But the reason I say Dana is, think about it. Before, like, Ronda Rousey in Strikeforce was okay, but who gave a fuck? Nobody. Not really. You put Ronda Rousey in the UFC, she's a fucking Hall of Famer. Same thing with Misha Tate.
That's true.
They brought Cyborg to... You made Amanda Nunes a fucking certified star. That woman has no personality for shit. You made her a star because she can beat the shit out of everybody.
Fact.
Dana
White
gives us what we want. I feel like that's the biggest thing with Dana. He gives you what you want. Whereas like even obviously it's something different. Like boxing. Boxing is very, as promoters, it's very, let's stretch this out. Dana is very like, all right, let's get to it. You know, I feel like Dana would push talent. Like one of the things.
I think so too. I think the one thing that Dana, if he ever did, would have to learn is long-term storytelling. They need to get rid of this bullshit 2-month program in WWE. That shit doesn't work.
AEW has got better at that with at least the long term.
Yeah,
little bit.
But you know what that issue is though? They don't have the stars for it. Like you were saying, I feel like WWE fell off when I was telling Danny and Joe, remember when one of the first Saudi trips where they got stuck on the tarmac and they wouldn't let them leave? So NXT had to come in on SmackDown and actually, you know, wrestle. Ciampa showed up, Gargano, and then they had they had some call-ups. NXT, yes, you want to build it, but like I was nice to be like, all right, you know, this isn't the main show.
Commentary.
Yeah, this isn't the main show, but this is where we're going to build up our stars. And they were doing it well. You know, Charlotte came up through NXT, like you said, Bailey, Sasha. So you were building up your stars. You get all the kinks out, you know, down in Florida, get all the kinks out, and then you bring them up. So like they missed their opportunity when, like, you know, Gargano should have been called, Tommaso Ciampa should have been called. These guys who have worked on their craft, and you know, the biggest thing with like even like Ohio Valley Wrestling, you know, the biggest thing for that was like, can you build a character? I feel like some of these guys are coming up without a character and they're like trying to whim on the fly, like, you know, try and build a character on the fly, and it just doesn't.
I feel
work.
Like NXT 2.0 is getting characters. Would you say that?
Well, NXT, I feel like NXT always has. It's just they don't bring people up to the big main stage to then, because it's just like how CM Punk said, you know. And AHL hockey players need to get better by playing against NHL hockey players, you know? So the AHL guys need to play against the NHL guys to get better. You can't just stay in NXT your whole time and then not get, you won't get better. And I feel like that's the issue where, because they didn't push those stars, now they're in this weird gap where it's just like, all right, we're losing stars, because it's not like WCW. AEW is literally taking unused talent and then using it. Whereas WCW, I feel like they were already used up. You know, it was just the leftovers of WWE. Mm-hmm. Where AEW was like, "Oh, you're not using Keith Lee? Oh, bet we'll take him. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, you're not using Andrade? Oh, thank you."
Yeah, I think the other thing too is Tony Khan understands now. He understands. He put out some shit, saying like, "Look, I have to pare down my roster. I can't keep a 300-person roster. It just doesn't make sense financially." But I think what Tony Khan sees is like, listen, you missed on Karrion Kross. You missed on Malachi Black. You missed on Keith Lee. You're missing on Bobby Roode. The only person that's kind of in that timetable that has been a hit in that company is AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And he didn't even go straight to, he skipped NXT, which he should have. There was no reason for AJ Styles to be in NXT. But I think the wrestling world, not just AEW, but MLW and NWA, and when ROH was still up and functioning, and Impact, all see guys who can make millions of dollars in sales and T-shirts. And let's be honest, this isn't the 80s. There's not a Hulk Hogan anymore. There's not even a John Cena anymore. Not really.
Yeah, there's not. No.
The closest thing you've got is Roman Reigns in WWE, and I don't think he can touch John Cena at the height of John Cena. No. So I think that's the other thing people are seeing is like the wrestling business is changing. If you look at guys like Brian Cage and Will Hobbs, those guys are getting fewer and far between. And it's becoming a smaller guy's business. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. These guys, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, like those guys are not giant guys. I think Kenny Omega's like 5'10". Like I'm 5'6". So if you're 5'10", like, okay, I'm not, you're not that intimidating. But I think they're starting to realize, like Tony Khan is starting to realize, like, listen, I don't know what's going to get over. That's not, Tony Khan has never had to get over in front of anybody. Tony Khan has the advantage of being a fan and kind of understanding the behind the scenes thing because he's been rich his whole life. He's had access beyond most fans. But I think what AEW does the best is they let people get over on their own. Chris Jericho, I'm a big Jericho mark. I know he said some shit that's kind of controversial about COVID or whatever. I don't give a fuck about any of that because his beliefs do not affect my beliefs. I'm a grown ass man. He can believe what he wants. I believe what I want. Fuck him.
Facts.
But Jericho said it. He was like, listen, we don't have fucking promo writers. Nobody has promo writers here. You may talk to Tony and figure out, hey, this is what I want you to mention. Like, you got to get the next pay-per-view over or the next show over, whatever the case is, right? Or you got to talk shit on your opponent.
They give you talking points.
Yeah.
Can you throw this and this here?
Yeah.
Promote this and this, but do whatever you want.
But outside of that, you do whatever the fuck you want. And what's cool,
it's more natural.
And there's no going back and retaping the promo. Yeah. Like, I'm sure for some of their backstage segments, shit gets fucked up. That's pre-taped. That's fine. But in the ring, like, what did Punk say to MJF the other day? Something about his fucking spray tan being suspect. Like, that's CM Punk is known. I'm not even a giant CM Punk fan, but he's known for his tongue. That dude can talk with the best of them. Yeah. That dude rocks the stick crazy. WWE held him back. Wouldn't let him deliver promos like a CM Punk.
Facts.
They wanted him to be a corporate champion. That's not CM Punk is fucking straight edge punk rock. The guy listens to a band called Rancid. Do you think he gives a fuck about corporate shit? Like, Facts. Come on, man.
I think he stayed away for 7 years and he trolled everyone for 7.
Yeah.
He's the only man that probably could have trolled the whole community for 7 years.
Well, and skill. That's the other thing too, is people forget Jericho did the same thing back in the early 2000s. I was in Iraq in 2007. Only wrestling fan in my entire company. And my company had 130 dudes. Wow. I was the only wrestling fan, right? Oh, actually, I'm lying. They gave me the only other wrestling fan was my roommate.
That's at least that worked out.
Yeah. So we would be in our little hut, they were called CHU, combat housing units, and we would be playing. This is how old this shit is. We would be playing SmackDown versus Raw 08 on our PS2.
Yes. Classic. One of the best wrestling games of all. Yes. That in 07. Best wrestling games of all time.
Yes.
And I remember that because it's Bobby Lashley, Undertaker, and John Cena on the cover.
Yes.
And it has the little razor blade that says featuring ECW.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That was when they first came out with the Extreme Rules. Oh, yeah.
Awesome game.
And you could go into the crowd. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Classic.
Time Jeff Hardy was played.
They don't make games like that no more.
Are you hyped up for the new one?
I'm cautiously optimistic. 2K has let me down more than
after that glitch shit. That shit was horrible.
Dude, 2K19, fire. Fucking fire. AJ on the cover was great. 2K20, the story was bullshit.
Couldn't play the game.
Well, there were times where I'd play it on the Xbox and it would just fucking blue screen of death me. Like, come on, what the fuck are you doing? But I would be in Iraq and in I think it was middle of 07, 08, Jericho came back to SmackDown or came back to Raw. Yeah. And I lost my shit. And me and my roommate were outside smoking Newports, talking about wrestling and shit. Like, that's, Punk. The great thing about Punk is Punk realizes that when something works, let me do it, but let me put my spin on it. Jericho, when he was gone for 7 years, didn't troll anybody. He just was out doing acting stuff and working with Fozzy and touring
and everything.
Yep. Punk. The reason I fuck with Punk is because if Punk thinks you're a bitch, Punk's gonna call you a bitch. And you guys will learn through listening to my show and the interactions that we have that I am the same exact way. If I think you're a fucking douchey cunt nugget, I'm gonna call you a douchey cunt nugget, because if somebody doesn't tell you, you don't know how to stop being a douchey cunt nugget. So let me be the one to help you.
Correct.
And if you don't want the help, well, then fuck it. At least I got my shit off my chest. And if you want to fight about it, well, you're on Twitter, so you're probably not really going to fight me anyway. So fuck
it. Call back.
Come down to Tejas.
Yeah, come on.
With them
they don't want
laws.
that.
Johnny Law's coming. My favorite line. Johnny Law's coming.
I tell people all the time, I tell people all the time this, and people think I'm joking when I say this. This is why I love Texas. Being from the East Coast, this shit wasn't possible. In Texas, this shit is possible. There is literally at least one gun in every single room of my house and 2 in each of the bathrooms.
Yeah.
If you come in my house, you better pack a couple of lunches. It's gonna be a long goddamn day.
Getting lit up.
And I'm not like, look, I was never special forces. I wasn't any of that. I'm just some, Joe regular guy, military.
Yeah.
So this is not me being tough or saying that any of that. I'm just saying, like, these keyboard warriors on Twitter can go fuck themselves. Oh yeah, and by the way, I do this on everybody's show. Fuck you, Joey Ryan. You can kiss my ass. He sent me a letter saying he was gonna sue me. He hasn't done anything about it yet. Cause
yeah,
how many years and how long has that been?
I got that letter 5 episodes into my podcast.
What do you want to sue? If you don't mind, what do you want to sue you over? Was it like
So I did an episode called, it's not posted anymore because I got some legal advice that said, look,
best interest to maybe take it.
You can say everything you want to say, but if you keep this up and he does sue you,
this could be used against you. Yeah.
But essentially, I made
a court of law.
I made an episode called "Fuck Joey Ryan and Velveteen Dream," and I put it out, and essentially it was like, listen, Joey Ryan, why are we? My main point on Joey Ryan was like, why are we surprised? This is the guy on Lucha fucking Underground who would take a lollipop, stick it down his trunks, halfway during the match, stick it back in his mouth that was touching his dick, and then his finisher was called the dick flip. Like somebody would grab his dick and he would twist him around and make them flip over, and that was his finish. He would do this to guys and girls. Why are we surprised this guy's a fucking predator?
Ayo, what the fuck? Yeah, that's it.
Like, so I put that out, and literally I got like 3 or 4 days later, I got a certified.
WWE wanted to do the Velveteen just so they can get him before they released him. They wanted to put a mask on him, so no one would know who it is, just so they could keep him in the company at one point before they released him.
That dude is a piece of shit. He was coming. It's funny. He got released, and then after his 90 days were up, he was scheduled to do a show here in San Antonio, and all of the major, there's 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 or 4 major wrestling schools down here that all have WWE legends that are involved with them.
That's awesome.
All of those schools went to this one promotion and said, listen, if you book Velveteen Dream, you will never get our talent again.
And Johnny Law gonna come through.
Yeah. He's essentially, he came to Texas, got ran out of Texas real quick. We don't play with that kid touching down here.
That Geppetto shit.
Oh, hell no. Like, he's a big dude, and that dude is cut like granite, but you ain't bulletproof, motherfucker. And I got kids. You nasty bitch. Like, I don't. This is.
He was a little suspect, yeah. I ain't gonna lie. A little bit of the shit.
And this is what gets me in trouble sometimes, because I don't give a fuck about your status. Like, I try not to talk shit about wrestlers who are wrestling in the ring, because I don't wrestle. Obviously, I'm not. I'm not taking bumps and shit. So I try not to critique a whole lot of people's work. It's just not. It's not for me to do. I don't. Just like they could never critique my work in the military. Motherfucker, you couldn't hack it. And it's the same way with me. Like, I couldn't hack it in a wrestling ring. My body's too beat up. So I try not to criticize too many people about their shit in the ring. But
the mic skills, I will criticize on that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And your personal life, if you're touching kids and assaulting women and shit, you're the type of dude that I want to beat your ass anyway. So come on and get some. Like, fuck it. And Joey Ryan was one of those guys that when he sent me that letter, I showed it to my wife. My wife is like, who the fuck is Joey Ryan? And why the fuck does he want to take you to court? And I played her the episode. She was like, babe, you can't say that and release it. Because essentially I said that I wanted somebody to take a dildo with spikes in it, cover it in sandpaper, and fuck Joey Ryan with it. And apparently that's frowned upon. So yeah, that's the kind of dude I am. I'm the look.
That's pretty. That's not that bad. No, what I'm saying is
Whoa,
like,
Joe, what do you like to do, Joe? Whoa.
No,
okay, no. I got you. I was
what
like,
you said is no, pause. I work with kids, so I don't trust me. And what I was, well.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I know.
No, we get it now. We get it now.
We get it. It's just reminding me of it's the Danny Vito, It's Always Sunny. Remember the pageantry show?
Fuck you.
He got caught, so he tried to.
What I was saying is the stuff, what you said, like to describe the dude, Joey Ryan.
Yeah.
That didn't seem that, like, I've heard people say crazier things like, hey, like, I'm going to do this to you and go into details. That's what I thought.
Oh, no, trust me. If I wanted to, like, I'll give you guys a peek into how dark my mentality is. What I really would like to happen is I would like Joey Ryan to be tied down with like rope, like old ass, just shitty condition rope that's rubbing into his skin.
Pulp Fiction
style. Boy Scout rope, Boy Scout stuff.
Pulp Fiction style.
But I want his hands out in front of him, like straight out in front of him, tied to a board. And what I want is I want somebody to pull his nail away from his finger, centimeter by centimeter, and then, but not pull the nail completely off. I want somebody, and this is how twisted I am. This is what I think this fucker deserves. Take little wooden, like, splinters and stick them beneath his nails.
I was just thinking about that. Oh, that's the.
I just watched Daredevil, and that's what they did.
And, that makes me cringe. Just imagine.
And the other thing that I want to do that would be fucked up, but it's, he's a rapist, so fuck him. What I want to do is I want to give him paper cuts and the webs of each one of his fingers, and then dunk his hand in lemon juice.
Oh, hey, Geppettos deserve it, man. It's a very.
That's how dark my soul is. But let's get away from all the torture, Top.
Yeah, so all the grape and Geppettos.
Yeah.
Any other questions you guys have for him?
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
For growing up, what was that moment where, like, we all have that moment that when you turned on the television and you saw that wrestling moment, you're like, this is for me. This is what I want to start investing my time in. Because what me, Danny, and Will always talk about is, all the product we have nowadays, it's real easy for kids to get into it because it's so much of it. Growing up in the the 90s, early 2000s.
Literally could watch a wrestling show every night of the week if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But growing up, it was on cable television. You were lucky if you were balling if you had a VCR with a fresh tape on it. What was that moment for you that was like, this is something I like. This is something I might want to watch a little more.
So for me, I was, 7, 8, maybe even younger, with my grandma, and she put on a VHS tape. Kids, if you're not old enough to know what that is, look it up. She put on a VHS of WrestleMania 3, Macho Man versus Ricky Steamboat, and I sat in front of the TV and I watched that match 30 times that night.
Wow.
And it is, when somebody who's not a wrestling fan asks me to describe why I like wrestling, I send them to YouTube to watch that match. It is the perfect wrestling match because Mach is so insane, but he's such a fucking pinpoint accurate technician in the ring. And Ricky Steamboat is a guy, or was a guy, who's so quiet and so well-spoken and so just seemed to be salt of the earth, kind of in that Dusty Rhodes level, that when he beat Mach, it made him a fucking star.
A worldwide star, too.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing...
It was overnight.
The other thing that got me is, and I didn't learn this till later, Mach fought for Ricky to win that match. He wasn't supposed to win that initially. Mach went to Vince and was like, look, one way or the other, I'm doing the favors tonight. Whether you like it or Pat Patterson likes it. I don't give a shit. Ricky's going over. It's his time to go over. So, you know, it's one of those matches where I sit back now. I haven't watched the match. Holy shit. Probably 15 years. But it's one of those matches where I still see the end of the match where Steamboat's got his hand raised in those little stupid rings they used to come out on, and George the Animal Steel's hugging him, and you know, it's just this fucking insane, you know, victory thing. And that wasn't even the main event. And it's the only match I give a fuck about on WrestleMania 3. It's the only one.
I'm not a fan of the younger WrestleManias, but when you said that, that's one of the matches out of the first, 10 years of WrestleMania. That's the one match I will always go back. And that match itself right there can still be, if you took that match, had the exact same match and put it onto a card this year, match of the year candidate.
Yeah. Depending on the performers, absolutely. If you gave that match to, let's see, who would I give that match to today? There's a kid. He's not really a kid, but he's a kid. I'm 10 years older than him. Named Chandler Hopkins out of Texas. And who would I have playing the macho role? Mike Bennett. Because Mike Bennett, and the reason I say Mike Bennett is because I've been watching his positive shit on Twitter, and I'm a fan of him. But I just watched an episode of Impact where they're doing this Honor No More stable, and
That
Mike
shit's
Bennett
good.
is.
I've been watching that. I'm watching the clips on YouTube.
He's fucking unhinged.
If you guys haven't checked out, check out those on the Impact clip. Impact is one of those slowly. It's going on the upskirts again.
Scott D'Amore's running that thing the way it should be. And it's because Scott D'Amore, he wasn't a wrestler, but he used to take bumps in the ring, and he was a manager, and he's with Team Canada. And
so you knew the nuances.
Exactly. It's being run by somebody who used to work. And I think Mike Bennett and Chandler Hopkins, if you gave them that match, and I don't give a fuck if it's at WrestleMania or Slammiversary or All Out, anything. Just put it on the main pay-per-view of whatever company you're with. Don't even give it main event. Give that sumbitch third match. And I guarantee you by the end of it, the crowd is exhausted. You're going to need somebody on the caliber of Eddie Guerrero to come in and wake up that crowd after that match. And that's what every match on the card should be. Right. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing that AEW does really well is if you notice, AEW is faction heavy, very faction heavy.
Yes, definitely.
But
everyone's got to be.
They're breaking almost all of them up. Inner Circle's getting ready to break up with this Proud and Powerful versus Jericho and Hager. And Sammy's gone again from that. So I think what they do really well is they let the stars who are in the storylines, essentially there's end goals and we want to get here and this is how we're booking, but they let those guys come up with the stories. And you can tell because there's some shit that like the Jericho Orange Cassidy storyline, I give a fuck about. Fuck a Orange Cassidy. Like, I don't understand it. I'm not a fan. But that was Jericho's idea to help make Orange Cassidy. And unfortunately, he helped make Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the other good things. And the last thing that got me into wrestling like this is Halloween Havoc 1997. Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. It's
classic.
One thing in that match.
Classic mullet. Eddie mullet.
So it's something that when I bring up, everybody's like, I didn't even notice that shit. But if you go back and watch it, you'll notice it. There's a spot where Ray is getting ready to jump up on the top rope and do a springboard moonsault DDT on Eddie, right? Eddie is facing the ropes. Yeah, he's facing the ropes. Ray is jumping backwards and doing a moonsault, catching his head, DDT him. Eddie, when Ray jumps on that top rope from the ground, Eddie sees he's too close and backs up an eighth of an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch. Ray hits the DDT. Nobody notices. It's a dope ass move. Spot is gone. If Eddie doesn't move that eighth of an inch or a quarter of an inch, who knows what happens?
I think I remember hearing something about this, like in a documentary about Eddie or something like that.
It's the smallest fucking thing in the world. But when I saw that, that moment made me an Eddie mark for the rest of my life, because it's something so minuscule and so tiny and so insignificant to most people. But when you see how big of a difference it could have been, you like, that's Eddie taking care of his people.
Yeah.
That's Eddie taking care of the other person that's giving him his body. And that was always one of the moments too where I was like, this is my shit. I fucking love all of it. And unfortunately, you know, Eddie's been gone for, good God, 16 years now. But yeah, that was my guy. That was my guy.
Like, I know one of my hot takes is like, I wasn't always able to appreciate Eddie. Like, I understand, you know, I loved his work in the 90s, but when I felt like when he went to WWE and he was, you know, doing his programming and stuff like that, I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of how he handled himself. I understood he had his, you know, issue with addiction and stuff like that. But now, I want to say within the past year, I've learned to like start appreciating certain things that he would do. And like, I think me hearing people's accounts of him, especially Chavo can go on for hours talking about just the quality of a person he is, and how, regardless of what he did with his personal life, when he stepped in that ring, it was his opponent that he cared for and the crowd that he cared for. And that's something now I'm starting to realize, even though he's been gone for so long, it's like, it's taken me 15 years to finally figure out, okay, maybe I don't agree with his life choices, but maybe there's something more that I haven't been seeing. So I've been seeing myself go back and watching those Eddie things, and I'm like, you know what, maybe people are onto something. But I think that's the good part about wrestling, you know, you don't always have to agree with the same person on certain things. People have different styles. People, you know, some people like comedy wrestling, some people like, you know, New Japan, hard style and stuff like that. I feel like now there's just so much product out here that anyone who wants to get into wrestling, now is the time.
Get into it.
Yeah.
Renaissance.
Yeah, I mean, I took my daughter to her first wrestling show in August, and she got to meet her favorite, this female luchador named Dulce Tormenta, who again is the shit. She treated my daughter so good. And I'm a big sucker for how you treat kids as a wrestler. If you treat kids great, I'm good. I'm gold. And when we were leaving, and I might, you know, choke up a little bit about this because it means the world to me. My daughter said to me, "This is our thing, Dad. I love this. This is not for anybody else. This is for you and me." And it's the same feeling that I had with my grandmother. And it's the same feeling that, you know, everybody has had with one person in their life at one point or another. And wrestling, I don't think people understand that wrestling builds bridges, because now what I'm starting to do is I'm starting to watch WWE Network with my daughter and show her Nick Bockwinkel from the 70s and Magnum TA from the 80s and Triple H and The Rock in ladder matches from the 90s, you know, and early Impact stuff with AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels from the early 2000s, and showing her like, look, this is the evolution of the way shit goes. And my daughter said to me the other day, she said, Dad, she said, and just to preface this, my daughter is 7 years old, and she said this to me. She said, Dad, in 5 years, do you think there will be any more heels in wrestling? And I looked at her, one, because I was like, you're 7. How the fuck are you so deep? Stop it. Get out of here. And second, I said, I don't. Because everything is so available to everybody now. What's cool is you have guys like MJF,
who stays in it in every interview. If you guys ever want to watch any MJF interview, rewatch any MJF interview. He never breaks character.
Even with the fans and stuff like that too. I've seen like his fan tweets and stuff like that.
He'll be with a kid.
That is why his cameo is like $500.
He will be with a kid. And the kid, so there's the latest one that I saw. MJF is doing something and he's posing with a kid, and the kid goes, his mom tells the kid, she's like, do it. And he goes like this. And MJF has got his middle finger up, and he looks at the kid and he was like, it's not that one, you fucking idiot. And takes the picture with the kid and moves the kid. And you know, as much of being mean to a kid is a heel move, it's not really being mean to a kid anymore. There's a clip online of Roman Reigns talking to a kid in the audience. Roman Reigns is the biggest heel in the world right now. But not really. I mean, you know, you see all the shit that he does outside of the ring. You know about Make-A-Wish. You know that he has leukemia. You know that he's beat leukemia twice. So yes, does he play the heel on TV? Absolutely. Is it the same kind of heel as, you know, a Jericho when Jericho punched Shawn Michaels' wife in the face? Absolutely not. It's completely different. We don't have that same kind of thing. The real heel baby face, nobody's really a heel. Nobody's really everybody's tweeners
that, Joe,
now.
remember?
Tweeners.
Actually, you said that you said that last week. Seth Rollins is a great example. He was on this little heel path, and now it's just like, is he a heel? Is he a baby face? Like
I don't think they need I think now with wrestling, there's no true heel. There's no true baby face. I feel like if you're using the word heel and baby face, it's like you have to go back to the age where gimmicks were a thing. You know, I'm making this person, and you know, the Undertaker, you know, he's a heel because, you know, he's dark, he's evil, he's the bad guy. Now you got then you have, you know, some lighthearted person, you know, they're the baby face. I feel like now it's like, it's not, Seth Rollins isn't a heel. He's Seth Rollins. He's like all these points, and you're going to gravitate to one of those points.
Same thing with Malachi Black on AEW. Like, this dude is supposed to be this demonic, you know, heel faction leader, but his shirts sell some of the most merch in AEW. I mean, his music, when he comes out, gets a positive reaction. Does he do shit that makes him a bad guy and that? Yes. But is he a bad motherfucker that you don't want to fight? Absolutely. And to the general public, that's a guy who, I can't beat him up. You get put on a pedestal a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think in the next 5 or 10 years, everybody is going to just be who they are. Turned up, way up.
Which I think is a good thing.
I do too. I think, you know, the days of Kane and Undertaker are gone.
Oh man, kids won't understand. And as a kid, I used to be scared of Kane, yo. When you used to just like, I used to
hear
like,
that music.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh shit, he gotta go against Kane. Oh, he done for you. I used to be like terrified.
And the days, the other thing. No shit. The other thing that is done is the slow big man, the big man who's just powerful for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Keith Lee earlier. That motherfucker's 340 pounds
moves,
doing spaceman planchas over the top rope, like
and
that
landing on
shit.
his feet.
And landing on his feet, and doing moonsaults and doing, leapfrogs over guys who are 6'7". Like him and Dominic Dijakovic have had some of the coolest fucking matches in the world, and they're both Keith Lee 6'2" or 6'3", Dijakovic 6'7", 6'8". And Keith Lee did a fucking standing leapfrog over this dude. Come the fuck on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's not the same. Wrestling's just not the same anymore. The Kevin Nashes, like if you put a Kevin Nash in a Scott Hall in today's wrestling business, I think they flame out. There's nothing that special about them. Not really. What made Kevin Nash and Scott Hall special is that they were big.
And he could talk.
And Scott could talk. Kevin,
yeah, I love it.
Kevin, not so much. But now you have guys who are cutting promos. Like, look, I don't know if you guys know who the Briscoes from ROH are.
I do.
So the Briscoes have this ongoing Twitter feud with FTR from AEW.
Are they ever going to show up?
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows?
Fuck yeah, they are. Because FTR went to
wow.
ROH's final show and beat the shit out of the Briscoes. They beat them boys bad.
Oh, if you guys want to watch that, I have it on my fight. I'll give you guys the password for
Dude.
Ring of Honor.
It's fucking tits, bro. Tits. But the promo, look, the Briscoes, for everybody who doesn't know, who's hearing this, the Briscoes are redneck, hillbilly, dirty, literal chicken farmers. One of them has teeth like I do, all fucked up. And you know why it doesn't matter? Because they will beat the shit out of you. And they will beat the shit out of your friends. And they will beat the shit out of your friends' friends. Like, it doesn't matter. And if you're going to whoop their asses, they're going to take that ass whooping. The Briscoes do, and the FTR does. FTR is, we're old school. We're managed by Tully Blanchard. We no flips, just fists. That's what their gimmick is, right? The Briscoes are, we like to fight. We like to fuck. And we like to get drunk. We ain't fucking you boys, and we ain't getting drunk with you boys. So it looks like we're gonna have to whoop your asses. And go on Jay Briscoe, his Twitter page, and see some of the promos they cut. Talking about, they just talk all sorts of shit, and it's so country.
These guys are missing. These two are missing a lot on like RP Twitter. I'm in Twitter. It's like literally the Great Khali.
Wait, what?
I don't fuck with anything Khali does because he's a racist.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, he is openly in India said he doesn't like black people. I don't fuck with Khali.
Who's the guy that's funny? I forgot. Iron Sheik.
Sheik. Fuck yeah.
That's it.
Iron Sheik is hysterical.
Sheik, the reason I fuck with Sheik is because every day his first tweet of the day is "fuck Hulk Hogan, you jabroni." Like,
does it every day.
Every day.
That's hilarious. Fuck Hulk Hogan, you jabroni.
And look, I'm of the mindset anybody who's gonna attack the Grand Wizard Hulk Hogan, I'm fine with that.
And use a
Like,
jabroni line.
And I can't take credit for that. My boy Rucker on Boot to the Face said that first, and I just steal it all the time.
He said the
It's fucking
Grand
funny
Wizard. Gandalf.
Fuck him. But yeah, dude, you guys look. I'll tell you this: what you need to do, what you should do, just in my opinion, is if you can't afford it, get a Fight TV subscription, get a Title Match Network subscription, and get an IWTV subscription. And the reason is you will find independent wrestling that you've never seen before. And you will discover guys like, there's a dude named Effie out there. And he is the most flamboyantly gay, out and proud dude. He wrestles in fucking fishnets. And he's he just made Jeff Jarrett his bitch. Like, he wrestles for GCW, which is essentially a deathmatch promotion, but they do more stuff. And then you'll see guys like this dude I had on my show called Isaiah Broner. And if any of you guys are boxing fans, you know where the last name Broner comes from.
Adrian
Broner, the knockout artist, right? So I met Isaiah. Isaiah is part of this group called Death Threat Army, which is based out of Michigan, but they have members in like South Carolina and California, Texas, and all this other shit, right? So I was watching some of Isaiah Broner's highlights, and the dude is getting exposure. He's traveling around the country working these indie scenes, but he's not big. He hasn't been on any major promotions. So I'm watching his shit, and I'm like, this motherfucker hits hard as shit. So I interview him, right? And I said, listen, look, I want to give you the nickname, the modern day Mike Tyson, because when you hit motherfuckers, it looks like you were snatching their soul. It's the same thing Mike Tyson used to do in the 90s. I found all of that shit out through wrestling Twitter. All of it. If you follow my Twitter page at chaos_theory pod, Dan has the link. We've been DMing.
I'll drop it. I'll drop it.
Yeah.
I'll drop it probably at the bottom of your name.
Follow my page, and you will see Isaiah Broner, Aaron O'Ryan, Tommy Vendetta. Let me tell you about Tommy Vendetta real quick. And I know I'm talking a lot, and you guys didn't probably want to do this long of an episode, so I apologize.
No, it's good.
No,
this is fine with me.
You're shooting the shit, man. I like it.
I'm such a wrestling nerd, and it's so rare to get to nerd out like this, but
no, this is great.
This guy, Tommy Vendetta, is from Michigan. He was in the Marine Corps, so he and I have a bond already. Had him on my show. We spent an hour and 58 minutes shooting this shit like this, and it felt like it was 15 minutes. His specialty is death matches. And when I say death matches, I mean this motherfucker walked around a match with a $20 bill stapled to his forehead.
God damn.
What?
Yeah. And then, but he also, if you go up on YouTube, he has a match versus Trey Miguel. That's fucking fire. That's easy. Oh my God. And what's cool about it is it's in a small little bingo hall VFW type of place. So when they're talking shit in the ring, you can hear them talking shit to each other because the camera is literally right in their grill. It was great camera work. They did really, really good for an independent show. And they're talking shit the entire time. But the other great thing about it is when they slap each other and when they chop each other, you're hearing. I mean, it's
meat, flesh on flesh, real.
It's the shit that makes you go, what the fuck is he thinking right now? Taking that chop. And
like
then
it's kind of like that when how we went through a couple years ago with the pandemic era wrestling. Like you actually hear like the beginning stages of it. That was really like you hear every single little thing.
Yeah. Well, and it was like when we were younger, Will. Remember all those chops we used to do when we were younger?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be great at your job to succeed in such a small place.
Yeah.
The other guy, there's a guy coming out of Texas. And I've had him on my show very, very luckily. Early on. I think he was like my third or fourth guest on my show. Named Alexander Crowley. Nicknamed the Death Dealer. And what's dope about this? There's so much shit that's dope about it. But when I interview guests, like I don't do the typical, I'm going to ask you questions and and we're going to hit a time mark. Like we'll go as long as we go. And then if you need to go, we'll end the episode, whatever. With him, I found out he and his wife didn't come to, she's from Texas. He's from Florida. He didn't come to Texas to be a wrestler. He came to Texas to open up a hair salon, to be a hairdresser. And this motherfucker will kill you. Like he in the ring.
He'll do your hair and then he'll kill you.
Oh yeah. Well, the crazy thing is
do your hairdo and then
what's crazy about it is they're successful in their business away from wrestling. They're very successful. They're business owners, they're very successful away from it. Inside the wrestling ring, this dude's about to blow the fuck up because I make this comparison, and if you ever watch him, you'll you'll understand why. He is very Malachi Black on the independent circuit. He's not a big talker, but that's what his wife is for. His wife is named Lilith. They call her the mother of mayhem. And the first time I ever did any research on him, I found this promo that she cut in the middle of a ring right before a show.
I saw their interview on the Queen's Takeover.
Dude,
And they had him on.
It was fucking insane. I mean, her cadence was great. What she was talking about was great. And I think the promo was maybe a minute and a half long. But it made me go, what's fucked up in your head that makes you think this shit so quick? And really, what their answer was, she can't take bumps. So it's not my story to tell, but she can't take bumps.
I got a back problem with the back of me.
So she takes what Crowley, and Crowley said this on my show, so I'm not talking out of school. Crowley admits that he's not a good talker. So you're the mysterious, dark cult leader guy. You don't need to talk. Shut up. Let your wife tell everybody how much of a fucking monster you are. You don't say a fucking word, and then you go prove her right. And then you prove her right. And then you prove her right. And
Undertaker, Paul Bearer kind of style, you know?
It is.
In the early days.
Yeah, it's very much that, except the coolest shit is, like, Paul Bearer would just be out on the ring, and if he had something to do, he would do it, right? He would just be out on the apron or out on the floor. Lilith, the whole time she's out on the floor, she's jaw-jacking with fans. She's talking shit to the wrestlers. She's engaged. She's doing something where she's busy, or she's encouraging Crowley, or she's shouting something. You know who she reminds me of, actually? She reminds me of Bobby Heenan. And the reason I say that is because if you look at Bobby Heenan, he was always doing something. Talking shit, jabbing to the ref, talking shit to the wrestlers, talking shit to the crowd. Bobby was always doing something. And when Bobby spoke on the mic, it meant something. When Lilith grabs the stick and she gets in the middle of the ring, or they're coming out and she's talking, it means something when she speaks. Those two are some of my favorite people I've had on my show, and he just came back from a major he broke his collarbone on the night that he won his first ever singles championship. So luckily the company let him keep it. They didn't make him, drop it or anything. So he's just now getting active, and I could be incorrect. It may not have been the same night, but I think it was. He's back active now. I'm going to end up having him back on the show so we can kind of go over how he's rehabbed from the injury and stuff like that.
Right.
But he's that guy is somebody you need to watch. And what's cool, so he was trained in this place called Hybrid School of Wrestling. It's here in San Antonio. One of the trainers, and he may be the head trainer and owner, is a guy named Chris Marvel. You guys have probably never heard of him because he's a Texas guy. He's a Texas legend, right? He's been around Texas wrestling forever. His other trainer, Sho Funaki. You talk about getting lessons from literally a guy who's been in WWE
Funaki
30 years. And not only that, knows how to make himself a valuable asset. Funaki hasn't been a wrestler for fucking 15 years. You know why he still does the Japanese fucking language translation? Because he's an asset.
He's very adaptable. He evolves.
And the stupid shit where they were doing the Bruce Lee lip thing with Funaki. Like, that shit is it's so simple, but it's genius.
We need a Funaki Royal Rumble entrance.
Yes. Oh my God, dude. Like,
yes.
that's what's great about this time in wrestling now is we're in a fucking golden age because WWE doesn't have a monopoly on shit anymore.
Mhm.
Like,
and the product isn't as good as it used to be, so there's a lot of room.
I have a question. Speaking of WWE, I have a question. Who do you think beats Roman eventually? What do you think the end game? Who do you think is the one?
Well, we know it's not Big E because they literally said, "Fuck you, Big E," and back to the tag team.
I don't think that's as permanent as people think. I don't know this to be 100% true, but Woods is out with an injury. And I think here shortly, all three are going to go their separate ways. Not like Turner back. They're not going to shield each other, but they're going to go their separate ways. I don't think Big E stays in the mid card for as long as people think. Who beats Roman?
I have my take on who should beat Roman if
Who
they
do you
want to
think?
tie. I think if they go full circle, I think
Jey
Jay.
Uso?
I think Jay at SummerSlam something happens to where they lose the tag team title, like maybe Roman cost them it or something like that at like WrestleMania. Or something happens, and Jay just, hey Us, how about give me another shot for or just something happens where we can just go full circle and Jay wins it. And you can then take that storyline to even be to where you can then involve The Rock in it. Like Roman just snaps. I mean, you go old school, he snaps once Jay wins it. He starts beating the shit. I mean, old type beat his ass. Like you want to take this from me? Backstage, fuck him up type shit. So, and I think that would be a great kind of full circle, because obviously with the COVID era and everything like that, we got Roman to be where he was at. I think that would be a great full circle story. I think Jay would be the ideal, because I don't want to see The Rock come back and take it from him. I hate the whole. I
think if The Rock comes back, it's just gonna be Rock to put him over in LA next year.
I do too. I think if The Rock comes back, he's gonna do the favors just to make Roman look like
he's gonna go out on it. He's gonna go out on his back and then say, "I'm done."
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The other thing, so if this was 6 months ago, my answer would have been Keith Lee. Because think about that Survivor Series match with NXT. Keith Lee stood toe-to-toe with Roman and delivered. And literally spirit bombed Roman.
Great match.
Yep, absolutely. Now,
you think they're going to
I kind of like your idea, except I don't think it's Jey Uso. This is what I think happens. I think you give Roman all of next year with the title. Don't let him lose. Don't let him lose a pay-per-view match, period.
I think I'm the same way.
Don't let him lose shit. You put him over. And I don't give a fuck if it's clean. I don't give a fuck if it's dirty. Don't let him lose shit.
The untouchable.
The day after next WrestleMania, you start showing cracks in Roman Reigns' mental health. You have him pushing Jay and Jimmy away. You have him pushing Paul away, to the point that Roman starts showing up to the arena by himself. That nobody sees Jay or Jimmy or Paul for 3 or 4 weeks, maybe a month, maybe even 2 months. You don't see anybody. It's just Roman Reigns. And then you start seeing promos of Roman holding the title and talking to the title like Ciampa used to do in NXT.
Oh, he's going crazy.
Yes. And then
like it.
After, it's so hard right now because there's not that many fucking stars that I want to see beat him.
Do you
I have a guess.
Do you think they give Jay, let's say, for example, Jay's not the one to be here, but to make him go crazy, because Roman's always watching his back, he's always paranoid. Do you think Jay wins Money in the Bank somehow? Somehow that's another, Jay wins his qualifying match, and then Roman's like, oh, perfect, since you won it, you can go after that title. Just kind of planting the seed where he's super paranoid, and then Jay has this decision to make, and you don't know what's gonna happen.
I think you could do that and it would work, and those guys, those three could get that over quick. But if it were me, I wouldn't have Money in the Bank or the Royal Rumble involved in his decision at all. I'd let Roman go completely away from that, because I honestly don't think you need somebody to put over that way. I think the Raw title, the Universal or the heavyweight title, needs it more than Roman's does. Because I think Roman makes the title right now. So what I think happens is we start seeing Roman cracking. And I think you see him lose to somebody like a Dominic Mysterio on a SmackDown. And he loses his shit. I mean, loses his shit. And then when we get back the next week, you see Jay and Jimmy and Paul, and they kind of confront Roman saying, hey, look, you're pushing us out. You're isolated. You're pushing us out. You're isolated. What the fuck is going on? And
that's a good, because it will play. He does talk to himself in the matches, so it's almost like you know, he's now talking to himself out of his matches. You know,
and he's talking to his belt like it's his kid. And then so I think that happens.
I hope it's not Breaker. I just hope it's not Breaker.
I think that's one of the people that it could be. I hope not too, because I think he's lame as shit. But you know who I would like it to be? There's two choices I have. At the end, Damian Priest or Cesaro.
I said no on Damian. I don't know. I'm not sold on Damian.
You didn't watch him as Punishment Martinez in ROH.
No, I watched his matches with NXT when he had the triple threat with Dijakovic and Keith Lee. Like, they were good, but I don't know. I'm just not sold on his. I just feel like WWE doesn't do it for him. Like,
gotta watch that Punisher stuff.
See, I've been saying Seth, but I know
you could do Seth.
Will, but I feel like going off of Will's thing lately, I would want to see him, Jimmy, and Jay have a little piece in themselves. Like, maybe have it where, you know,
what if they had a triple threat? I would love to see that.
So he's going off. He's doing his thing. Like you said, he gets a pin off of someone or whatever. He comes in the bag. It's like, Jay, I think it's Jay. Jay, you're not doing your job. You know, you're like, every time, like, when I need you, you're not there. Have Naomi. I feel like having Naomi come in or something like that. You know, who you talking to? Don't
or the little brother.
I wouldn't put the little brother. I'd put Naomi in there. Just who?
I put the little brother in for like the intercontinental.
I would say like.
Well, Naomi could be like a level of disrespect. Like, he disrespects the shit out of
you're disrespecting my husband. I don't know who you think you are. At the family cookouts, you know, you're different. You sit off by yourself.
And let him drop it.
Trash.
Let him drop shut the fuck up. Like, just let him drop that line. Like, that would be like, yo,
like, no,
like, who you talking to, Us?
And have him disrespect her, like, you know, like without a Uso, who are you, or something like that. And then at that point, he's like,
yeah.
Now you put Jay. I think it's Jay that's married to Naomi, right?
I can't tell them apart.
You put the Uso there, and it's like
Jimmy. It's Jimmy.
Now he's like against Roman because now he just disrespected his wife or something like that. But give him a reason. Like, you know, I've been with you this whole time. I didn't agree with that at first, but now you're disrespecting my family, my lineage. You're disrespecting my table. Now I have an issue with it. I would like to see that program. Whether he wins is another story.
That would be dope. And I was just thinking about it. Instead of doing Dominic, because Dominic is contracted to WWE, Dominic has earned his place. He took that ass whooping from Seth and Buddy Murphy and took all those cane shots, and he earned his place in WWE, right? So you have Roman, you have what everybody thinks is going to be a squash match on SmackDown, and you have some local talent come in and get a schoolboy, and you get a schoolboy on him, and he picks a win up over the big dog.
Santino Marella.
Oh, yes. Something stupid like that. Yeah, like fucking Leon Ruff or something. Or you have one of the NXT guys come up, like not Braun Breaker because he's one of the bigger guys, but you have somebody like
Waller.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that, or what's that Italian dude's name?
Tony
D'Angelo. You have one of those.
Guy?
Yeah, have one of those guys get a victory over
Cameron Grimes.
you know what? Actually, that would be dope too, just because of how small Cameron Grimes is.
Yeah, I went to the moon.
Yep. So you have you have him take that W over Roman. Roman beats him so severely that he can't move. I mean, I want it to
hospitalized. Yes, like
I want it to
Just taking off the WWE roster page. Like, let's take him off.
I want it to be so serious that
You
whoever
gassed.
it is, literally they stop the show like they did when King was having his heart attack. That's how bad I want this beatdown to be, right? And then you find out he was Cesaro. He was in Cesaro's wedding as his best man or something like that. And Cesaro already has a chip on his shoulder because he's supposed to have been a world champion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and I don't even think you have Cesaro and Roman Reigns touch yet. Don't have Roman Reigns beat the shit out of Cameron Grimes, let's say, and Roman leaves the arena because Jay and Jimmy and Paul are like, you're going to kill him. You need to leave now. So they get him out of the arena.
Or they're gonna call the cops. The cops are called or
Yeah.
some shit like that. You gotta leave.
So you get him out of the arena.
Roman, how many times have you tried to murder someone, man? Braun, you need to get out of here.
Exactly. You have them go, and Cesaro. You see Cesaro in the back. That's my best friend. Da 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 da. This, that, and the third. You see all the emotions build
The Cedric
up.
Diggory. That's my boy. Like that
Exactly.
kind of style. That's my
And then the other thing that you do, I think you keep Roman off TV for 3 weeks.
Yep.
Don't let him show up. He's in hiding.
Or
He
you-
thought he might have killed him.
Air something from the house or something like that. Or
Nope. Keep him
No?
silent
Oh.
completely. Keep him completely silent. Let fans wonder, where the fuck is Roman at? Like, it's wrestling. He didn't really kill this guy. Get that fucking switch going in between kayfabe and what's real, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, while you're doing that, you make Cesaro beat the shit out of everybody in his way. I mean, you make him the Swiss cyborg again. You make him a freak.
uppercutting these dudes' heads off.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Beating the shit
And
out
then-
of Jimmy and Jay.
Yep.
Each one.
And then, you know what? I wouldn't even, at that point, I wouldn't even get anybody involved. I'd have the whole bloodline gone. Just
Yeah.
let him be
Yeah.
gone.
Okay.
Have Cesaro just beat up the entire SmackDown roster and just be a fucking monster. I literally wouldn't put Cesaro in Royal Rumble. I wouldn't put him in any of those matches. I want him to just be on a fucking warpath. And then he calls out Roman for a week. Roman doesn't show up. Jay shows up. Beats the shit out of Jay. Sends a message to Roman like, hey, this is you. Next week, Jimmy and Jay show up. Cesaro beats them just within an inch of their lives. Next week, Roman shows up. Jimmy and Jay are fucked up. Cesaro beat them within an inch of their lives. And then Roman beats them senseless for not being able to perform, not having his back, not, defending the family's honor. All of this leads up to WrestleMania. Main event. Cesaro versus Roman Reigns. No holds barred, no DQ. Straight up fight.
Oh my God.
Straight up fight.
Dude,
And who
you-
cost Roman Reigns the match? Jimmy and Jey Uso. That is how I would, if it was me,
I like that. That would be
that's how, but it has to slow build. It
Oh,
can't
yeah.
be rushed. It would have to be, because you have to give people time to think about, where the fuck
person-
is Roman at?
The person that beats him needs that touch.
Oh, yeah.
The person
there needs to be a storyline. There needs to be a build. I feel like there needs to be something.
It just can't be like this year. Like, let's say Barack wins the chamber and beats them both to become a double.
Well, look at so I've been saying this on our podcast for the last 2 weeks. What are the WrestleMania matches going to be this year? So, for example, what you're saying, build it. I wish that what you're saying could be true, but I have no faith in WWE and building storyline. But if you look at this year,
This is 2 WrestleManias from now.
and they're doing a 2-nighter, so they want people to buy 2 tickets. What are you selling me? Right now, we only have maybe what What's the match that's probably going to go to WrestleMania? Fuck.
Probably Roman and Brock.
Potentially.
Yeah, probably.
Miz and Rey Mysterio probably is going to be a match at if they continue with that storyline, which it seems that's what they're going to do. Maybe give Dominic his first, actual live WrestleMania moment. But what do we have? Like, we have Ronda versus one of whether it be Becky or Charlotte. Like, what do we have? What do we have? There's no story building. So, like, I love the idea of Rome, but it's like they just don't story build. Like,
yeah, and that's why, like, my wife I told my wife, because down in Texas at one point the lottery got down here to 750 million or something like that. And she asked me, she's like, what's the first thing you would do if you won the lottery? And I said, $750 million. Obviously paying taxes first. Got to give Uncle Sam's got to get his taste first. Got to get that shit out of the way. The second thing I would do is I would buy a wrestling company, an existing wrestling company like Mission Pro or something like that. Right.
By TNA, bring back the Main Event Mafia. Steve Holt.
I would buy a wrestling company. You know, it might be ROH. Oh, fuck. I would love to own ROH. Somewhere that I could do year-long stories. NWA is a perfect example, or ROH works too. But I would buy a company and I wouldn't see, and this is the difference between me and somebody, other people. I'm not trying to kick anybody out of their positions. I'm not trying to take over anything. But I want to be Vince McMahon. You look, if you are managing the talent or you're a head trainer or you're in charge of good.
Isn't it kind of weird that Vince got rid of all Triple H's boys?
Yes. Because I honestly think Vince is selling WWE and he's done. Because look at how much stocks they've dumped.
You think Triple H ends up in AEW at one point?
No.
To help?
No, they turned down. Apparently, they turned down Shane. I think there was like rumors that like Shane was talking to Tony Khan.
There's this rumor that Shane got fired. It's not true.
No.
Shane is not getting the position he was auditioning for. He was auditioning to be one of their lead producers. Shane produced that entire Royal Rumble. That looked like dog shit.
It was horrible.
Best match on the card was Seth Roman.
Yeah, but
100%. But no. Shane didn't produce the whole card. He just produced the entire Royal Rumble.
Match. The Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, which was dog shit. It was horrible.
It sucked. There was so much opportunity with it. Like, you had Mickie James come in the Women's Royal Rumble with her Impact Women's World title. Why didn't you? Dude, there's so much talent right now on Impact's roster. Like a Josh Alexander or a Moose or somebody. Bring them in as a surprise entrance.
Even Cardona you could have brought back as a nice little...
Cardona doesn't want shit to do with WWE. And honestly,
I don't blame him.
Fuck Matt Cardona. He's a douchebag. Like, he was shitty to two of my homeboys. Like, Matt Cardona runs a podcast for toys for his figures. And I have buddies who do the same thing. And Cardona and Myers essentially put out the word that anybody else who does a podcast like us, we're going to shut them down.
Oh, he's on that New Jersey boy.
Yeah, he's a fuck boy. Yeah. So I don't fuck with Cardona, but he dude, there's so much. I don't think Shane ever goes to AEW. I think when the family's done with wrestling, they're done. Now, that being said, I think Hunter, if Vince sticks around, if I'm the new owner, whether it's Disney or I don't even know any other companies besides Disney that would buy it. But
what if
Tony
Disney buys it?
Who?
What if Tony actually just ends up buying the whole thing?
He could, but it would be dumb. You've got to have competition. You have to. When WWE, this is why we're in the position we're in now, is because WWE got comfortable. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have to make a whole bunch of new stars like they were making in the Attitude Era. Mm-hmm. And as much as I hate Orange Cassidy and I don't fuck with Orange Cassidy like that, He's a star. He sells merch. Like, people love that motherfucker. So AEW is
just being an idiot.
Yeah. AEW is doing what WWE did in the Attitude Era. So I don't think Tony goes in on it, but I think if Disney buys it, whoever they have to run it, if they're smart, they let Triple H run day to day.
Yep.
I heard there was one rumor that it was like Dwayne Johnson and Nick Khan.
Yep.
I could
That
see
wanted to buy it.
Rock. I could see The Rock buying it.
So The Rock, his ex-wife Danny Garcia, who's still his business manager or something like that. Nick Khan, who The Rock and Nick Khan are apparently super close, and
Weird.
his ex-wife's new husband are in like an ownership group together. They're the ones who bought the XFL minus Nick Khan. And they're the ones who did Zoa together. They're doing the Under Armour shit. Like, they just did the fucking Under Armour deal with UFC.
Yep, their UFC deal. Rock's part of UFC.
That's
Like,
all of their shit.
Like sponsoring it.
If The Rock was to buy WWE, I think The Rock is smart enough to know that he himself doesn't have time to run it day to day. And as much as I think he still loves Danny and they have a really close relationship, especially since with their daughter, I think he understands enough to know that she's not a promoter. Triple H is a born promoter. That motherfucker's booking decisions, dude, bringing back War Games, doing the Dusty Classic, doing the Mae Young Classic, like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, like all of that is Triple H. Look at the way, if you look at NXT from their first pay-per-view, from their first NXT Arrival special to the last War Games, that's all Triple H. All of it. Vince, shut the fuck up, step back, and let Hunter run it. And he made so much fucking money. So much. He took NXT was a goddamn joke on USA. They were doing stupid fucking obstacle courses. And Hunter built a performance center. Signed William Regal, which is one of the smartest fucking things he ever did. Had Dusty Rhodes doing promo classes and booking. Had Shawn Michaels come in. Had Matt Bloom come in as the head trainer. You know, had all these things, all these pieces. Everything was that was Triple H's baby. If you give Triple H the company again and say, listen, you can run the day-to-day operations. Here's the deal, though. You're going in the Hall of Fame because I think Triple H deserves it. I don't care what anybody else says.
Yeah.
You're going in the Hall of Fame.
Wait, there's a debate. There's people who say he doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? What?
There's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people who hate Triple H who think he's not that good or was never that good.
He was that man. Yo, I think he sells the best bumps out of anybody. Like the way he can take a strike.
He can be corny sometimes, but
overdo it. But like
yeah.
I think he makes it really seem like you're taking a hit. Like in my opinion, he used to make it really seem like you could. I felt like he was actually getting beat up. I felt like he gave his body to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think whoever owns it says, look, you're going in the Hall of Fame and you can't wrestle anymore. You cannot be in the ring anymore.
Yeah.
You've got to take that part of your life is done. It's over. Here's the book. You are the be all end all for what creative decisions get made. Now, is Triple H more relevant now than Vince is? Absolutely. Was Vince Triple H of his day? 1,000,000%. Vince is a fucking pioneer. Vince has done some of the most genius things or allowed to happen in his company, the most genius things in the world. And he sold out fucking Cowboy Stadium, 110,000 people. That's insane. Right?
Gotta do it again this year. 2 nights.
Yep. Yes, he is. And so I think Triple H follows in Vince's footsteps. But I think the biggest difference is this. Vince never worked the road. Doesn't know what the travels. He knows what the travel's like, but he's Vince McMahon. He's always traveled on his own private plane that probably has a fucking queen size bed in the back.
Is that the reason why reason why AEW people are some are happy because they only film that one day a week?
Yeah.
They only film that one day. They film
Vince don't know that rough life.
Yeah.
It's like they film Dark, Dynamite, and Rampage all in one night. Like me and Will are going to Dynamite and Rampage when it comes to our area in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so am I. I bought my tickets for the 16th of next month. Rampage and Dark will both, or Dynamite and Rampage will both
and
be.
Dark.
And Dark will all be on one ticket.
What a value, yo. What a value.
Dude, I paid $35 for my ticket. And check this out. The ring is here. I'm in the section right behind the announcer's booth.
Oh, shit.
Yours are cheaper. Ours are expensive as hell.
Dude, I paid $35. Now, granted, I'm
different
not
states.
I'm not right up against the barrier. I'm like 15 rows back, but I'm on floor level.
Oh, that's good.
It's insanity.
I can't wait. I'm geeking already.
I'm stoked. But I think this is the other thing too. I think Hunter could run this company and make WrestleMania mean what WrestleMania used to mean.
Yes.
I think you have to cut out the 2 nights. It doesn't work. You're asking too much of the fans to pay that much.
Yeah. And bring back, I think they should scrap Money in the Bank and make it back at it made Money in the Bank matter because like I had to wait till WrestleMania. I had to qualify, go to WrestleMania on the biggest stage. I then had to win Money in the Bank, and then I still have not even guaranteed to win it. I feel like the Money in the Bank pay-per-view it's like the Elimination Chamber, the Hell in a Cell. Like those are special matches. Like we're having such a hard feud.
Like
it's gonna be in the Hell in a Cell. Like instead of
the last good WrestleMania was 31. The last good. Would you say the last decent one?
I would say WrestleMania hasn't impressed me top to bottom.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. I think last year though, Bianca and Sasha main eventing WrestleMania was absolutely the right call.
Yeah.
100% the right call. And not only was it history, not only was it dope to see representation. My daughter is Hispanic and she wants to be a wrestler. So that's representation for my daughter. Main eventing WrestleMania. It's huge.
The female stars.
But I think you need to cut
that second day. Like I said, you don't even have any, you don't storyline tell, so I can't. Like I don't know.
Heads up, guys! I gotta head out pretty soon.
Hey,
my bad guys. I like to talk a lot, and
I had
the same thing.
I had the perfect way to wrap it up. Ready? We're just gonna do a quick shoot. We like to do. We're doing a series we like to do. Would you rather? So we like to go back and like do. So I ask him one of the first would you rather's. Would you rather take the Mick Foley, and then just quick answer: Mick Foley dive off, thrown off onto the announce table, Hell in a Cell, or Shane McMahon WrestleMania against Steve Blackman falling off that scalpel and then landing? Which would you do if they said you, hey,
Steve Blackman? I'll take that.
Yeah,
one.
scaffold, no doubt, because you can hide cardboard boxes under the tables.
Okay,
exactly.
Okay.
Mick Foley could have died.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. What was the other one?
I came with another one. Would you rather take a suplex or body slam onto a pile of thumbtacks, or would you rather Dudley Boys or Undertaker fall off of the ladder onto like 4 tables?
With me,
I'll take the thumbtacks.
I'm taking the 4 tables because I feel like that's a lot of tables to.
Yeah, I would say the tables too, because when you fall, it's not the fall that kills you; it's the sudden stop.
Yep.
And with those 4 tables, you're slowing down instead of crashing down.
Mm-hmm.
So while the tables are gonna suck and you're gonna be sore, and I just saw a tweet from an independent guy that said, "I woke up with a thumbtack in my balls." I'm good. Never. No, I'm good.
Hey, I'm a big guy. I got enough padding on me. I think I could take a couple tacks. Well, you trained me back in my days, so.
Facts. Yep. We've dark times.
Stuff.
Yeah. Danny, if you want to take us away, man.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on the show, Mike.
Absolutely, guys, man.
Check
Look,
us out how they can like catch you.
yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at chaos_theory pod. You can find me on Instagram. Oh shit, I forgot what my Instagram is because I've changed this fucking name so many times. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Because I actually have 2 Instagrams.
Ours is just the Bump Boys.
The chaos, the page is chaos. The page on Instagram is Chaos Theory Pod. I also have another one that shows my art because I do painting and stuff like that. It's called the Chaos Club Art Gallery. And for the merch, the t-shirts that has you can find the Chaos Thunder. We have Chaos Club, the Bullet Club ripoff shirt is all on my Teespring. You can find all of that information on my Twitter bio in my link tree. The show is dropped essentially whenever I have time to drop it. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, anything you can find your podcast at. My podcast is there. Also, check out fullpresscoverage.com. That's the network that I mess with, is Full Press. That's the network that I'm on. Anything you want for sports, MMA, wrestling, it's all on there. So you can find me in any of those places. And check out the website, chaostheorypodcast.com. My mixtape is up there. My merch, links to my merch are up there. Links to independent wrestlers I think you should know are up there. And then a couple of articles I've written are up there as well. So
Yes.
Awesome.
And we'll have
Also-
our new, and thanks, because of him, we'll have our new intro.
If you're ever looking for work, you know that the work is legit, bro. Like the song is fire. I remember you sent that rough draft, and I thought that was perfect as is, man.
Remember that first guy I tried to get?
Hey, give me 1 second while you guys finish up. Someone's at my door. Give me 1 sec while y'all finish
No, we're
up.
wrapping up. Well, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I'm
like
just saying that intro, like that rough cut was perfect, man.
Yeah.
So thank you.
absolutely.
Definitely got to have you on sometime again.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I'm on. Anytime you guys want to do like a fantasy book episode, let me know. I'm down. I love the fantasy book. So
All right.
Oh, awesome.
All right.
And let's
All right,
end the
guys.
show on something we can all agree on.
absolutely.
Fuck Joey Ryan.
Fuck
Joey
Joey Ryan.
Ryan.
Been the Bump Boys.
We're out.
Peace out.
Signing out.
Must bid you adieu, a goodbye, mwah, and good night.